This is James Marsden.
No,
Jason.
cut it.
This is why I sucked.
Jason.
Jason.
Yes.
James is the
Is the one from Buffy.
that is it.
Nope.
Nope.
That's-
Cut.
Let's just
Bring in the other one.
Just go.
Just go.
We're going to get started now.
Yes.
Who would like to ask the first question so that I stop talking? Mr. Q.
All right, so you've been a part of a lot of like '90s big shows. Like, how was that experience?
It was great. No, I don't get a proper introduction with my real name.
Oh.
That would be great. Or do I do it?
Introduce
Marsden.
yourself.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself for your rap.
Jason Marsden.
Yes.
My new friend.
Yes, we've known each other for so long.
And now I have it all together. Oh, thank you, sir. And now Mr. Q. You're going to ask the first question.
Okay.
Do you want me to-
How many movies of X-Men was I in? None.
All right.
Yes, go ahead.
So you've been a part of a lot of big '90s TV shows. How was that experience?
I mean, in hindsight, it's pretty awesome because at the time I didn't realize it was just, they're just jobs. But to have been part of such nostalgia and kind of like sprinkle in a little bit here and there, and people, recognize me from that, or they won't. They'll be like, "Wait, you look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?" So it's always a fun, little pleasurable experience. And they did a '90s convention, a full '90s con in Connecticut earlier this year, and that just fed everyone's Frankenstein, man. And I was proud to be there because I was representing, being on Boy Meets World and Full House and Hocus Pocus. All the cast were there, and I was just kind of bouncing around. I was like that cousin that kind of goes to all the parties. Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Hey, so kind of to piggyback off that question, because you were in some of my favorite '90s shows, like Just Shoot Me, like David Spade. So I was wondering, like, what are your favorite characters to portray? Because I know you've done a lot of like character work.
Sure.
So what are kind of like your favorites? Kind of like
My favorites to portray are obviously like the easiest ones. Like I'm tiny. I'm a little bit arrogant, a little fast talking. So those kind of like macho. Like the character I played in Just Shoot Me was that character. He was the bully for one of the lead characters as a child. He grows up, but I'm still tiny, but I'm still kind of an asshole, Sorry, still kind of, arrogant guy. So those are always kind of, the fun comedic relief kind of guys is what comes easy for me.
Yeah, I remember you and Elliot. It was hilarious.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It was fun. Yeah, I got a coin.
Next question.
Hi.
Yes, I'm Sierra.
Hi, Sierra.
How was it from acting on scene to acting behind scene? How is it transitioning from?
What's it like working like on camera versus voiceover?
Yes.
Well, I would say it's very similar because it's all acting. I'm doing the same thing. It's all coming from here. On camera, I might have to get up at 6 a.m. I might have to put on some makeup, put on an outfit, go to a location. Voiceover, I can show up in this outfit, and I have. So it's and you don't have to memorize anything, But I have affection for both sides equally because I just like to act, man. I just like it. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Adrian?
Yes. So you've been in so many different things. What are some of your most memorable, like, voiceover or television appearances? What are your most memorable and favorite moments?
Man, when I was 17, I did a TV series called Erie, Indiana, and it blew my mind to be cast in something like that because it was like making little Twilight Zone movies. It was produced and partially directed by Joe Dante, who I was a big fan of. He did Gremlins and Inner Space and Twilight Zone, and I worked with like some amazing people. I learned a lot, and to this day, like anyone who brings up Erie, Indiana, I'll talk to you about it all day. I just love it. And Omri Katz, who starred in Hocus Pocus, he starred in Erie, Indiana. So that's how I first met. So we got to work together a couple of times. Yeah.
Okay, next question, Mr. P. You have another one?
You did a voiceover for a lot of superheroes. But who's
Yes.
your favorite?
My favorite superhero that I guess I did kind of voice him. My favorite superhero is Batman. I love the Batman, and I got to voice Batman Beyond briefly because my best friend Will Friedle was the voice of Batman Beyond. He was doing like a movie of the week in Canada, and he was unavailable to do these Warner Brothers promos. If you remember, the Kids WB had these promos where they were kind of rotoscope characters from the TV shows, put them in different scenarios, and like there was one where Batman was like singing a lullaby to Jigglypuff, and it had Batman Beyond in there. But Will wasn't available, so they brought me in to do it. I didn't audition or nothing; they just brought me in. I didn't realize I sounded like Will, so I got to do those promos as Batman Beyond, the Will Friedle version, just for a little bit. Yeah, hi, I'm Will. Hi, Will Friedle here. No, Jay, I can't come visit you in Nashville. I can't. I'm too busy cleaning my toenails. I can't. You'll never see this.
So I know, Rebecca, you have a question, ma'am.
Yes, what was your experience working on the Munsters reboot?
Yeah, man, good job. Before You're Indiana, my first TV series was a reboot of The Munsters called The Munsters Today, and it was outstanding. It was my first really big gig, and we went 3 seasons. We worked in hindsight, I never realized because I was so young, but we had some guest stars, some amazing guest stars, some actors who were on like old character actor comedians, Sandy Barron, and oh my gosh, we had Paparita guest star, and we shot on the Universal Studios lot. And at the time, I lived across the street from Universal Studios out in Lancashire. And right now, where there is a subway station, there used to be an apartment building, and that's where I lived. And this is before security was a big deal, and they knew me. So on my days off, on the weekends, I just ride my bike over on Universal Studios and hang out on the back lots. They did not care. And that was like my playground. And they were shooting Back to the Future 2. They were shooting Dick Tracy. And I would, they didn't care. I would just hang out on those sets. And that was some of the most memorable childhood moments growing up, going through puberty, hanging out on the back lot of Universal Studios.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I have time for one more question. Mr. Allen?
Mr. Allen, in the front. Yeah.
I'm very southern. I put Mr. in front of
I love it.
everybody. Or Miss.
Yeah, that's the new stage name now, Mr. Allen.
Mr. Allen.
But yeah, so I know you worked on the Goofy movie, which
Yes.
was a big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how your dynamic is with them in real life.
I wish he was here with me right now. Bill Farmer, have you guys talked to him?
Yeah,
Yes.
sir.
Bill is an outstanding human being. I love doing cons with Bill because you've talked to him. He's just grounded, super nice guy, unassuming, personality. And when we're at cons, he will be behind his table, and not a lot of people know who he is just by looking at him. But they'll look at him, they'll look at the picture of Goofy on his table, look back at him, look at Goofy, and they're like, "Are you the voice of Goofy?" And he'll look at him and go, "Gosh, I sure am!" And people just burst into confetti because that we did a panel yesterday, and him just doing the voice sends these ripples of giddiness. Because he's Goofy, for crying out loud. He's like one of the most beloved, trifecta of Disney characters out there. And when you experience that firsthand, it gives you those good nostalgic feelings, man. Yeah, I love Billy. I love him so much. It's like a real father-son dynamic. And I live in Nashville now, so I get to see my friends through convention appearances. And thanks to a Goofy movie, we get to see each other all the time. We've traveled together. And, gone to weddings and stuff like that. He's an outstanding human being. Yeah.